Have you ever felt like you're waiting for something that never comes, like time is against you, and your days pass without meaning, as if the promise you carry in your heart feels further and further away? Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that moment when you asked yourself, will all of this be worth it? The weight on your back, the daily struggle, the tears no one sees, all of this brought you here. And I need to tell you, it was not in vain. If you are hearing this message now, it's because the moment that heaven marked has arrived. Today is the day of the great revelation. You are not just anyone. You are an heir of God. And heirs can no longer wait. You were set apart, chosen, molded for a time like this. And I am here to remind you of what the enemy tried to make you forget. Your identity. Maybe you've lived days where no one saw you, when it seemed like your prayers hit the ceiling and bounced back. Maybe you've walked through deserts that made you doubt your worth. I know it hurts. I know that sometimes the soul screams in silence, and the only thing you want is a sign. Something that says, I am still here. I still have a purpose. This message is that sign. You found what you've been looking for. I want you to listen with your heart now. You have not been forgotten. God saw you in every hidden tear, in every battle fought in silence, in every dream that seemed to die. You were forged in pain because you carry something too great to be delivered in just any way. You were prepared with care because what God has to give you requires firm hands, a strengthened heart, and I know that time wore you out, that the weight hurt you, that the promises seemed distant, almost unreal. But today is the day when everything starts to align, the day when divine wisdom will invade you in a way you've never felt before. Heaven is moving, and you need to understand. There is a spiritual urgency over your life. You can no longer wait. You are not hearing this by chance. This is not just another video, another word thrown to the wind. This is an answer. This is prophetic. You were drawn here because God is about to give you the key that will unlock what has been locked for so long. But for that, you need to position yourself as what you really are, an heir of the kingdom. And no, heirs don't live like servants. Heirs don't hide in the shadows of fear. Heirs don't accept crumbs. You were born to reign. You were born to occupy high places, to bring to earth what has already been released in heaven. But until you take hold of your identity, you will keep thinking you don't deserve it. You will keep walking in circles, trapped in doubts, in pains, in memories that no longer belong to you. There's something you need to understand now. The heavens have already released over you a double portion of wisdom, strength, and revelation. But this anointing will only manifest when you decide to break away from the old vision you have of yourself. God does not see you as weak, as small, as lost. God sees you as a son, as an heir, as someone who carries within themselves the power to change realities. Maybe no one has told you this yet, but you have spiritual authority. You have a calling that can no longer be delayed. You were set apart for a time like this because there are lives that depend on your obedience. And yes, it's heavy. Yes, sometimes it feels too big. But let me remind you, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And if you were called, it's because He has already placed inside you everything you need. Today is the day of the great revelation. Today the veils fall. Today the scales on your eyes fall. Today your mind opens to a new reality. You are no longer at the mercy of chance, luck, or circumstances. You are driven by an eternal purpose, and this purpose starts to manifest now. Do you feel it? It's your spirit being activated. It's your essence being reminded of who you really are. It's not the end, it never was. It's just the beginning of something so great that you will look back and understand every tear, every sleepless night, every no you received. Everything was part of the construction of who you needed to be, to carry the glory that is coming over you. Maybe you're there trying to understand why everything was always so hard, why it seems that for you, nothing comes easy, why while others advance, you feel stuck, as if something invisible is holding you back. And I want to tell you something that goes straight to your heart. It's not because you are weak. It's because you carry something much greater than you imagine. Have you ever felt like no one really understands you? That no matter how much you try to explain what you live, what you feel, it seems no one grasps the depth of your pain? How many times have you smiled on the outside, while inside your world was collapsing? How many times have you said, "I'm fine," when in fact you wanted to scream for help? I know, God knows, and maybe at some point you believed that you were alone, that no one saw your internal battles, that no one cared about the weight you carry every day. But let me tell you a secret. You were never alone, never. Not for a second. The presence of God was always there, even when you couldn't feel it. He saw every detail of your story. He was there when you thought of giving up, when you thought you had no more strength to go on. He heard every silent prayer, those you made with a tight heart, with no words, just tears. And it was in those tears that he planted the seed of your victory. Maybe no one has told you this before, but you are rare. You are too precious to walk around as if you were common, as if your life was just one more among so many. No. You were created with a unique purpose, with a destiny that only you can fulfill. And that's why the battle has been so intense. Because the enemy knows what you carry. He knows that if you awaken, nothing will be able to stop you. You were forged in pain. And that pain wasn't punishment, it was training. Every wound you carried strengthened you, taught you, shaped you. And now you are ready to live what God has prepared. But for that, you need to leave behind the weight of doubt. You need to believe with all your being that you were born to manifest the glory of God on this earth. I know that sometimes the waiting tires you. That time seems like an enemy. But heirs know that the promise does not fail. And if you are an heir, then you need to rise as such. You need to claim what is yours. Because the time of manifestation has arrived. The time when the children of God will be revealed has come. And you are one of them. This video, this message didn't reach you by chance. It wasn't a simple click. It was a calling. It was God telling you, hey, wake up. The time of waiting is over. The time has come to live what I prepared. Did you feel that inside, that flame that started to light in your chest? That is the Spirit of God activating you. That is His voice calling you closer, deeper. He is saying, son, daughter, come. I want to reveal mysteries to you. I want to fill you with my wisdom. I want to show you what eyes have not seen, what ears have not heard. But first of all, you need to remember, you are not just anyone. You were chosen. You were set apart. And that makes you special. That places you in a different place. You can no longer live as someone who doesn't know who they are. You can no longer accept less than what God has for you. And you know what's most beautiful? It's that even with all your flaws, with all your falls, with all your doubts, God still calls you. He still sees you with love, with compassion, with hope. He believes in you more than you do. He knows what you are capable of because He was the one who formed you. He was the one who placed inside you this strength that even you didn't know you had. Maybe you've cried in secret. Maybe you've thought of disappearing, of giving up, of stopping the fight. But now is the time to rise. Now is the time to dry your tears and say, I am a child of the King, I am an heir, and I will no longer live as a slave. You have a calling, you have a purpose, you have a mission, and the world is waiting for you to rise, for you to take hold of your identity, for you to stop hiding and start shining. Because when you shine, it's not you who appears. It's God being glorified through your life. And maybe deep down you're wondering, is there still time? Does God still want to use me? And I answer you with all certainty, yes, there is still time. There are still promises. There is still life. There is still a glorious future waiting for you. But you need to believe. You need to take the step. You need to say yes. Because God does not force. He calls. He invites. He draws with love. And now He is telling you, son, daughter, come. I have more, I have everything. You know, your life was not an accident. Every step, every pain, every silence, everything was being written by a God who does not waste suffering. Nothing was in vain, nothing. And even when you thought it was the end, God was just beginning to shape your story. I want to tell you something now, something you may have never heard this way. You are like gold, and gold before it shines needs to go through the fire. It needs to be purified, melted, separated from all impurities. Only then does it become valuable in the eyes of the world. But in God's eyes you have always been precious, even in the process, even in the pain. Imagine for a moment that time when everything seemed lost. Do you remember? That day when you thought you couldn't take it anymore, that you wouldn't make it through another day. Yeah, it was there that God was closest. It was there that He truly began to shape you, because the great ones are not born in palaces, but in battles, and you were called to be great. There is a truth that needs to go deep into your heart now. The enemy has always tried to stop you because he knows the impact you will have once you awaken. He tried to silence you, tried to make you give up, tried to bind you with chains of guilt, of pain, of fear. But he failed. He failed because you're still here. You're still breathing. You can still hear this message. And that means God still has something great to do through you. Your journey is not about survival. It's about destiny. It's about purpose. It's about living the fullness of who you were created to be. And while you see yourself as just someone trying to survive, you forget that you bear the mark of the chosen. You forget that within you is a calling that can transform generations. Remember Joseph? He was betrayed, sold, forgotten, imprisoned. But none of that was the end. It was all part of the process that would lead him to the throne. And so it is with you. The pit, the prison, the forgetfulness, all of it was just a path preparing you to reign. And you are closer than you think. There's something the enemy tried to hide from you. Something that, if you had known from the beginning, would have changed the way you see life. You are feared in hell. Every time you rise, even wounded, even tired, hell trembles. Because it knows that a child of God, when awakened, carries an authority that no one can take away. You are not just anyone. You carry the DNA of those who were chosen to reign. You carry within you the breath of the Almighty God. And that's why the war has been so intense. That's why life seems so hard. Because you weren't born to live on the surface. You were born to dive deep, to live great things, to impact the world. Now look at your story. Look at everything you've already overcome. Look at how many times you fell and got back up. That's not weakness. That's proof of the strength that lives in you. That's evidence that you've been trained to win, to conquer, to reign. And the time has come. The time has come to stop looking at the past as if it were a prison. The past was school, it was preparation, it was refinement. But your future is governance, it is authority. It is the manifestation of the glory of God. You know, God didn't call you to be just another one. He called you to be a voice, to be light, to be salt. And the world needs what you carry. You can't hide it anymore. You can't delay it anymore. You can't live in fear anymore. You need to rise. You need to see yourself as God sees you. Strong, capable, anointed, chosen. And maybe you are there trying to understand how. How to get out of this situation. How to live all this. How to reach this level. And I tell you, it's not in your strength. It's not about what you can do. It's about what God has already done for you. It's about surrendering. It's about trusting. It's about taking steps of faith even without seeing the whole path, because heirs don't need to see everything to believe. They know that the Father has already prepared everything. They know that if God promised, He will fulfill. And He promised. He promised that He would be with you until the end. He promised that nothing could separate you from His love. He promised that He would do exceedingly abundantly more than you can ask or think. And now He is saying, son, daughter, the time has come. The time to live, no longer survive. The time to reign, no longer hide. The time to walk on water, no longer fear the wind. The decision is in your hands. The door is open. Heaven is moving. Will you enter? Listen to what I'm going to tell. You now. What seemed like your end was just the beginning of a divine mission. That pain that almost paralyzed you. That moment when everything collapsed. That season when you thought God was silent. It was there that He was preparing the perfect stage to reveal to you what you never imagined. You weren't called to live hidden in fear, wondering if you are worthy or capable. God raised you to be a living sign of His grace and power. And now He calls you to come out of the cave, to stop hiding in traumas, in guilt, in wounds. Because The time of revelation has come. Do you feel that? Do you feel your spirit moving? It's God shaking you from the inside. It's Him saying, rise up, because heaven is in motion, and you are a key piece in this purpose. You were trained in secret to shine in public. The time of anonymity was necessary. God needed to teach you to trust, to depend only on Him. But now, He wants you to advance, to walk with authority, to declare without fear who you are in Him. You are a child, you are an heir, you are part of the eternal plan, and the world needs to see what God is going to do through you. Stop seeing yourself as small. Stop limiting yourself. Stop living in the shadow of a past that has already been forgiven, washed, restored. Today is the day of your turning point. Today is the day divine wisdom is poured over you. You will see as you've never seen before. You will hear God's voice clearly. You will know what to do, where to go, with whom to walk. Because those who have divine wisdom do not get lost, do not get deceived, do not stray from purpose. Now imagine yourself free. Imagine yourself restored. Imagine yourself living what you always knew, deep down, was yours. Do you feel that peace, that certainty? It's God confirming that everything you've lived brought you here to place you in a new place, higher, deeper, more filled with His presence. You were born to impact, to break chains, to bring light where there is darkness. But first, you needed to be broken so God could rebuild you according to His mold. And now you are ready. Now you can carry the weight of the glory that is coming. Now you understand that your story was not about defeat, but about purpose. Remember when you thought there was no meaning left, when everything seemed directionless. Today God gives you direction. Today He reveals the path. Today He gives you a new vision, the vision of an heir, not of a slave, the vision of a victor, not of a victim, the vision of purpose, not of confusion. And it doesn't matter what was said about you. It doesn't matter the labels, the criticisms, the judgments. God always had the final word. And His word over you is, my beloved son, my beloved daughter, in whom I am well pleased. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone. God has already approved you. God has already chosen you. God has already empowered you. Now it's your turn to take your place, to take possession, to declare with faith, I am what God says I am. I will live what God has promised. And if fear tries to return, if doubt tries to stop you, remember, you carry the Holy Spirit within you. And where the Spirit is, there is freedom. There is power, there is courage. You no longer walk alone, never again. Rise now. Lift your head. Look ahead. Your future is waiting for you. Your purpose is calling you. And God is by your side, guiding every step, lighting every path, opening every door. After all this, you can no longer see yourself as a victim. You can no longer carry chains that have been broken. You can no longer walk like someone who doesn't know their worth. You are living proof of the impossible. You are the manifestation of God's grace in the midst of chaos. You are testimony that what was meant to kill you only made you stronger. Listen, from today on, you walk with purpose. You move with faith. You act with divine authority. Because there's no going back. You can no longer live half of what God called you to live fully. Heaven has marked you. Heaven has activated you. Heaven has lifted you up. You are no longer the same. Something inside you has changed, and no one can take that from you. No one can extinguish the fire that has started to burn inside you. No one can stop you, because when God raises up, who can stop it? And if at any moment you still feel weak, remember, His strength is made perfect in your weakness. And when you say, I can't, God responds, I can in you. Now imagine what lies ahead. Imagine doors opening. Imagine promises being fulfilled. Imagine people being impacted by your story. Everything you've lived has prepared you for this, to be an instrument, to be a channel, to be an answer. And this message was not just words. It was not just comfort. It was a calling. It was a spiritual milestone. It was God telling you the time is now. Don't live another day as someone waiting for something to fall from heaven without moving. You have already received. Now, it's time to act. Time to walk on water. Time to conquer territories, time to take possession of the promised land. You are an heir, and heirs govern. Heirs take charge, heirs transform, and you have been raised to transform environments, families, generations. Now I ask you, what part of this message touched your heart the most? Tell me in the comments. I want to know how God spoke to you, because together we are stronger. Together we build an army of heirs who do not accept less than what heaven has promised. And if this message spoke to you, subscribe and leave your like, so that it can reach more lives, more heirs who are waiting for this same revelation. May heaven surround you with grace. May divine doors open over your life. And from today on, may you live knowing, I am a son, I am an heir, I am called, go, because heaven is with you.